What is going on, Socrates Fiends? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we're here to try something new. I'll see if you guys enjoyed. If you do, we can keep it going. If not, that is perfectly fine, but I enjoy going through the PWCC weekly auctions, and there is a channel called Cajun Cardboard where he does this for basketball. He goes through the top 100 every week, and I find it just, really soothing to be able to watch every week and something that I can go to. And even though I'm not that big into basketball, it's just fun to be able to, connect with the market that I am minorly attached to. So that's what we're going to do today. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If you do, again, make sure to leave a like. Helps me, helps the channel a ton, and also tells me that you enjoy this, so would appreciate it greatly. With that said, let's go ahead and dive on into it. Starting from the bottom and working our way up. I will preface this all by saying, once it gets to Pele and prior in terms of vintage, I'm not, wildly aware. Like, I know names, I know some sets, I have a little bit of knowledge, but I'm not someone that's going to be able to deep dive that. Maybe eventually, I know more and can work my way into that. Would love, again, if you guys have anything to say about, some of these cards or what you think sold too high, too low, let me know. Always interested in learning more, and that's part of why I'm doing this, is so that, well, one, we can, interact, have this discussion, but two, we can also go through all this and see it and talk about it, and that'll be a lot of fun. So starting off on the bottom here, we have a David Beckham, Merlin. I look at this and just think Topps Gold, which is basically, Topps bought Merlin, so it's sort of the same thing. I think it's a lovely looking card. PSA 9 holding up pretty well, it seems. This is one of those cards that, during this fall of soccer cards, I wasn't sure how well it'd hold up, and that seems decent. Beyond that, kind of a hodgepodge of cards right here. We have a silver bar for Home and Son, an 1899 card that I know nothing about, and then a 2019 Obsidian Ronaldo. I didn't think that this was that crazy of a price. I mean, people pay, almost anything for numbered Ronaldo or Messi, it would seem. So to be able to get a PSA 10 Obsidian, which is a hard grade, for $300, that's out of 15, seems cool to me, but, it's not something I'm buying, so is what it is. The next line has a few goodies. You have a Ruminegi Euro sticker there, a Kaluna early sticker as well, and then these were ones that interested me because it's more my wheelhouse, but also, some stories behind them. The 2003 Upper Deck Ronaldo was at one point absolutely killing it. I believe I have a price on it over here. So Card Ladder only has the PSA 10, but, the 8s follow the same trajectory as the PSA 10. I mean, this is just wild to look at how far it ran. I mean, from a, $300 to $500 in 2019 all the way up to $5,000. Then all the way up to $20,000, and then we've had this falling back to reality now, which we're at $2,000, which seems like a much more normal price, still high, but, compared to $20K, obviously very low. So you've had this bouncing around, and Ronaldo just has a lot of options, I feel like, for second year. He has the mega cracks, he has the upper deck, he has upper deck numbered stuff, he has some stickers and the Portuguese kit. I mean, there's just like different ways you can go about it. I feel like for me personally, it makes it very hard to understand where I should go. I do think the upper deck is cool because you get them in the Manchester United kit, but at the same time, I just don't know where I want to go. So I could see why the market might be struggling with that. Then we also have an early Zidane here, but I don't know. Between Beckett newly graded items and everything I see in these discords, I think this was a card that was talked about as a potential fake, but to be honest, I don't remember exactly, so $300, I don't know how to take that. Then in the next line, we have a Erling Pele. This is a set with just a bunch of, I guess, in-action shots of Pele and him with other people, so you got to kind of decipher which one is his, and there are different ones that look, better or worse depending on how you see fit. We have a 2001 early Ronaldinho sticker, looking really good there. BGS 9.5, BGS, scary, right? Everyone's terrified, so it is what it is. Second year Beckenbauer, lovely looking sticker and a high grade as well. And then a pretty common Messi rookie. We'll take a peek at this since, Messi rookies are, I guess, a staple of the market, at least in my opinion. And he did win a World Cup, but his market's, in an iffy spot right now. So basically, looking at this, right, this is the PSA 7. Going back to 2020, this is kind of the late summer, going into fall bump, and then it fell down a little bit going into the winter, to which then it just responded with an absolute roar when everything peaked. And now since then, we've basically gone back to sort of that December low point pricing, which feels much more comfortable, at least, from my point of view. I was someone that I was buying here, and I did sell one or two up there. So, I played my hand pretty good during that time. I understand that, obviously a good amount of people didn't, and they might be looking at this as a bad thing that's gotten this low. But realistically, if you believe in soccer cards long term, I think that this, along with other Messi rookies, are just, great buys. Long term, if you have the same beliefs, of course, today, tomorrow, next month, you never know. But I thought that was interesting. I mean, you can tell that, this card basically got no bump from winning the World Cup, which is one of the things that people debate, is that good, is it bad? For me, it shows that people already thought of Messi as a GOAT, and a World Cup win isn't going to change that massively. Now, personally, I think it should, because it almost puts him and Pele, like, hand in hand, in my opinion, and then there's sort of an echelon beneath that. That is a great echelon, but I think it puts him a step above other competition. And so I do think that should be important, and probably will be important long term, but short term, you don't have the massive boom that we would have expected, back during the COVID days where everyone's chasing. And if Messi wins a World Cup, man, that would have been a huge chase. But because we're in this down market, no one cares, which is good if you want to buy, but it's bad if you want to sell. So it is what it is. Then moving on in this row, nothing too crazy. Out of 25, Ronaldo, Topps Chrome insert. I thought this was really weird just because there's so much writing on it. Like, you get the footballer flash, Cristiano Ronaldo, Juventus, Topps Chrome Jeep. I think there's like another little sponsor under there. Champions League, and it's just a lot of writing. So I thought that was a strange looking insert. Then a high grade Del Piero rookie going for $360. I think the PSA 9 recently sold. It might have been on Golden, but it was $2,000, something like that. The Pop 1 PSA 9. I do worry if you're a buyer of that because, the Panini Calciatore stickers seem to come out in a good degree, and getting a 9 or a 10, while it is hard, I don't think it will be impossible. Next to that, we have a Thomas Muller PSA 10 rookie. Thomas Muller, I guess a lot like the Ronaldo second year situation. I'm not sure which Thomas Muller rookie I want to buy. I'm looking at him, and I'm not like eager to invest. I just want to, collect a Thomas Muller rookie since I have other Thomas Muller stuff. But I don't know which sticker to go for because there's like a foily version. There's this one. There's an in action. There's like pieces that you put together, which definitely isn't the one, but you get what I'm saying. There's just a lot of options. And so, good price on that, but still, I'm not sure what I would want to do. Then we have a 1965 Pele in a 2 grade, lovely looking Pele. Then next we have the Cruyff Vanderhout in a PSA 4 going for about $400. That is one that's taken an absolute beating looking here. You can't tell, well, I guess you kind of can. This is a PSA 4. It says on Card Ladder the value is $225, which, knowing what we know just from the auction alone, sold for near $400, so still down from the last sale, but only down $100 in the last 8 months, which is 20%. 20% down in 8 months for a sticker like this that's taken a beating, that doesn't seem too bad. At least compared to what we're seeing in general, especially when you consider that this sticker selling back here was a PWCC, exemplary grade that people, I guess, pay more for. I don't like the, qualifiers as much that this is like a great card or sticker, because usually it's just centering. Like everyone, whenever they do this, eye appeal, all they look at is centered. It doesn't matter if there's surface impressions everywhere, a corner gets chewed off. Literally eye appeal to the market at this point is just centering. So I don't look at that heavily. Some people do. Beyond that, a 10 out of 10 Eminence Christian Pulisic auto. Cool card. USMNT guy. I'm a fan. I'm not buying that. However, that's not terribly priced. Like if it came down, I'd consider it. And honestly, I'm not even someone that considers buying Pulisic autos because I know they can have that man sign all day. But really cool early card. Next up, 1963 Sicker Verlag Pele, another good looking one. This one in a 3, and colors aren't as vibrant, but still a good looking one. Also a hand cut, so it's always, interesting. How do you define a trimmed hand cut? You really can't. So, a lot of those types of stickers, in theory, you have as many goes as you can to try to get it right, as long as you don't get the borders too thin or something along those lines. So that's always sort of a question mark in terms of the soccer card community. How do we feel about that? But it's just something each person has to cross whenever they get there. But really nice Pele. This would be 5th, 6th year, depending on, I guess, his rookie season. Technically for stickers is 57, but most available are 58. Here you have a 2007 Mega Cracks Cristiano Ronaldo. Don't know how much this goes for typically, to be honest. It's not something I really follow. Like, I know his 2nd year Mega Cracks, I know his 1st year Mega Cracks, but beyond that, I haven't followed the lineage too much. Seems like a pretty high price, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, these are much more rare because this year there wasn't, many bought, or I don't know the story. But nice looking card though, I won't lie. Looks amazing. Just not sure I'd spend $400, but obviously someone is, and that's all the more fun. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, you could get that 9, or in the very next row for what? $10 more, you can get this 8 2nd year. I feel like that's so much better of a buy. Now, again, I might not know the intricacies of it. I haven't, delved deep into the Ronaldo Mega Cracks run post rookie and 2nd year, so I'm not sure, but that just feels so much better. In addition to that, this is kind of fun. We'll see the duality of Pele autos here soon. But a Leaf sticker goes for $420, a little bit off the sticker. That's also a 2022, but the auto actually looks pretty good. You know, some of Pele's more recent autos weren't too great, but that looks decent, at least to my eyes. I did bid on and lost this Robin Van Persie. I didn't go this far at all. I just kind of, you know, put my hat in the ring early, thinking maybe if the cards play right, I would go after it, but definitely not happening. I have a PSA 8 I bought for $35-40, so I was happy to upgrade if the price was right. You know, spending 10 times what I paid for the 8 for 10 isn't what I feel the price is right to be, so I didn't go anywhere near that, but, you know, a fun sticker that I personally enjoy. I like the pre-modern stickers, especially in high grade. This was one that during the craze of soccer, I couldn't find any of these. And now, I mean, at least, you know, in 8s and 9s, they're moderately plentiful on these auction sites. So I like to grab one if I can. Then there's the Select Unlimited Potential PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe. This actually, I mean, for being a PSA 10, feels like a decent price, at least compared to where we used to be. I'm looking at his Select. This is more of a field level, so it's not, you know, the same as the Unlimited, but shows a similar trajectory, right? And that is basically from going to relative obscurity, where at the end of 2019, this was a $40 card in a PSA 10, to where this was a $4,000 card in a PSA 10, all in the matter of about a year and a half, right? And, you know, when that happens, you then come back to reality, right? And I think that's closer to where we are now. Would I still pay this much for, you know, a base Mbappe? I don't know. It depends where you stand in the rookie debate for him. It's always sort of this question that must be asked, I guess. But I like the Unlimited Potential. I think that's a much cooler card, at least in my opinion, than the field level. But, you know, to each their own. I know field level, especially that year, is a pretty sought after one. Then we move on up to the next row. We have a couple Thierry Henry, Panini Mejores Equipos de Europa. This is the Spanish version. There is a Spanish and a Russian. The Russian seems more rare. However, you know, given the situation at the moment, it's very hard to get a real understanding of how rare stuff is in Russia, so it makes it a little bit murkier, but they are really cool stickers. I had to think about that for a second because they are bigger, but they are stickers, and yeah, I mean, just, you know, nice looking ones. Back when these were going crazy, when, you know, not to say Andre did it, but Andre had a video talking about Thierry Henry, and usually whenever, you know, information gets out, people are excited, right? Especially in soccer, especially how it was back in the day. So the raws on eBay, I think, were in the 300 to 400 range. Now that was a lot higher than they were prior, but, you know, that's where they were at that time. So to see raws on eBay that are in, you know, iffy condition being 300 to 400 to now seeing PSA 7s on PWCC selling for the same price feels like, you know, much more of a correction and much more realistic. You know, if you could get, like, say, an 8 of this for a moderately decent price, that feels like a really good buy. Definitely not his preferred rookie. The Panini foot for Thierry Henry is, of course, going to be the preferred one. I don't think there's anything that can change that, even if rarity on the Russian version is different. I think that, I mean, just the look of the Panini foot and the legacy of Panini foot is really, I guess, truly something to be appreciated, and I, you know, kind of already baked into the market. The Panini foot in a 7 would sell for multiples of what this sold for. Beyond that, you know, can't speak too much as to this rookie. It is a Gento rookie. You know, that is someone that's obviously very prominent in this era and, you know, comes in a lot of sets with other key players since they were on the same team. And so, you know, it is a fun one. I don't know how many rookie options he has, but I will say it is a very beautiful card. And if someone, you know, feels the need to pay $430, that's pretty impressive. Also PSA Pop 1, just one graded higher. So, you know, has that going for it. You definitely need to be more into the weeds and vintage to be able to know if PSA Pop 1, you know, one higher, none higher really means what you think it might mean, because typically in soccer, there will be more. And that's something we always have to kind of accept, is that there is more out there waiting to be graded. It's just how much more is out there and how much more demand will there be by the time, you know, that supply is ran through. And that's always a question that no one really knows the answer. We'll go a bit quicker just so I don't take forever here, but we have the 2004, I guess the less preferred Messi rookie. I would say one of the least preferred, actually, in a PSA 8 selling for near 500. Seems like a reasonable price, at least from what I've seen in the past. So that's nothing too crazy. Again, you know, despite winning the World Cup, his price is not up much, basically maintaining, holding steady, which is, you know, seems to be a good sign, at least considering where we were, where everything was dropping pretty substantially. This was interesting. There's a PSA 7 Monday Chromo that sold for the same price as the PSA 8 Campione. I don't think I've ever seen that, where basically a Monday Chromo's almost doubling the price. The way I look at it, typically when you're going from a 7 to an 8 or an 8 to a 9, usually the price is doubled. So, you know, a PSA 7 selling at the same price as a PSA 8, in my mind, that's, you know, double the price. And so that's really interesting. You know, even in the Monday Chromo heydays, I don't think it was doubling the Campeon stickers or cards. And that's an interesting one. The Monday Chromo could be more appealing, at least I think it's more appealing, because it is a league-wide release, as the Campeon set's just a team release. So, you know, it's sort of, I guess, the equivalent of, along the lines of with the Fleer Jordan versus the Star Jordan. You know, the Star Jordan was released in team packs and, you know, doesn't have the same sort of, you know, pack pulled release excitement. Now there are packs for this, but again, it's just team, and it's basically them celebrating their champion of that season. So it is what it is. I believe that's why it's less preferred. And also the whites of this grade pretty well, since it's a white card, but also Monday Chromo is a white card, so you really can't, you know, take too much from that. 1958, we have another Pele. This one, I think a better picture than the last one, probably why it went for a better price, and got him right here on the right side, looking really good. Looking like a decent little crease there across the middle, and what seems to be a pretty clean back from what I can tell. It's always, you know, a little difficult with the vintage stickers. You really gotta, you know, zoom in and look at every inch of the card on the back just to make sure, but looks really nice to me. Next to that, we have a select 2020 Kylian Mbappe, numbered out of 60. The camo selects are always so random. Like one year, I think it was 249, then it's out of 20, then it's out of 30, and then now it's out of 60. I don't know if there was ever an out of 30, but I mean, basically just roll a dice, that's what it's going to be numbered out of. It's very strange to me. Next, we have the Messi World Cup PSA 9 Panini card. This one, I would say at this point, you know, pretty iconic. Whenever you think of first World Cup for Messi or Ronaldo, you typically think of these cards, or maybe their respective stickers as well. This card has taken, you know, along the same lines of a ride of what we've seen with others, where basically at one point in time during that late summer boom, it was feeling really good there at 1500. It dropped down in the winter times, the deep dark winters, to 500 to 600, bounced all the way up to 2500, and now we are back down to a little bit below where we were in that winter right there. So, you know, it seems at this point pretty steady. This is what I'm kind of seeing with a lot of soccer stuff at this point. I mean, since November, it's been pretty much middling, and, you know, slight signs of, you know, something to be excited about. But this is much more of an enjoyable spot to be, where you can feel more comfortable buying than, you know, even on a run up. I mean, people will say that, you know, it's so fun to buy right here, but you don't know if right here you're going to be right here soon. So, like, it's not easy to buy when the run is going, and it's not easy to buy when stuff's going down. Once things kind of even out, I feel like it's much more comfortable. And so while it might not be the best looking graph, I do think that it bodes well going forward. And I think that that's, you know, a very cool card, a very good card to have. I do believe the 10s go for a big premium, in my opinion, an unwarranted premium, but it is what it is. People always want the 10s. This is a very special row right here. So on the right-hand side, I thought this wasn't a terrible price. I mean, if you're a treble collector, getting a Neymar numbered out of 10 for 500 seems cool to me. It is a PSA 8, so maybe that, you know, plays a role in the price, of course. And beyond that, he's in the PSG kit, which realistically long-term, he'll probably be remembered more for, you know, Barcelona, or people would even prefer Brazil, I would imagine, over a PSG kit. So, you know, maybe that plays a role. Next to you have a John Terry Flawless Auto. Not much to say on that, but I do think that that auto is very unique. Next to that, we have another Messi Campeon. This is a PSA 8, the blue version, more preferred. Only selling for, you know, 30 more than the white version. I would definitely take the blue over the white for an extra, you know, 30, 40 bucks. But yeah, looks really good. Clean corners, it would seem to me. Then I thought that this was really funny. So this is like one of the memes I've seen in Discord or on social media. And this is a 1-of-1 gold leaf sticker auto of Ronaldo. Supposed to be art of sport is the saying. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Like, look at that. They murdered my boy. Look at that. What are you doing, dude? I'm at, like, somehow Leaf is capable of making 1-of-1 Ronaldo signed cards only worth $500. I mean, that is truly magical that they can do that. That is just putrid. In the next row, a lot of weird ones, stuff I really can't talk too heavily into. I will talk about the Maradona, but you do have a Pele team rookie. can't really comment on that. Lewandowski red's like the new thing. It was gold before, but red is way low numbered, and so instead of gold, it's now red. Red's the big thing. People like the reds, at least that's what I'm hearing, but personally, I don't see it. I wouldn't pay 500 for Lewandowski red, but honestly, if you're a Bayern collector, I guess you're getting an out of 10, color match, Topps Chrome, PSA 10. I could see myself convincing myself that it might be worth that, but I don't know. Then we have a 2020 Topps Chrome Gold Camavinga Auto, PSA 10. Again, kind of along the same lines of Lewandowski. If you're really into it, I could see it. If not, not sure. Then we have a Maradona PSA 3. These are holding up. I mean, well, we'll look at the graph. They're not holding up relative to peaks. Again, nothing's holding up relative to peaks. But, paying 500 for a PSA 3 of a, this is basically one of the highest pop, if not the highest pop, vintage item there is in soccer. Not to say that that's a bad thing. I think this is one of the times where you have the, the crossing of high demand and high supply and how that plays out, right? I mean, this is the first Panini Maradona. Looks amazing. Argentina kit. I mean, it is just, I don't own it. I own Maradona rookies, but I desperately want to own one of these, but I just will not pay $500 for PSA 3, damn it. But nonetheless, going on over to the prices now, PSA 3 Maradona has gone on this ride. So basically in 2018, it was about $80. In 2020, $800. At the peak, $1,800, and now we're closer to $500. So, again, I think this is one of those times where, are we ever going to get back down to the $81 it was in 2018? I don't believe so. I think there are way too many people in the market. The pop is 41. It's not going up massively, I wouldn't say. I should look at this more, and I will going forward for the next few. But you can tell, I mean, kind of a slow and steady increase. It's gone from a pop 20 to a pop 40 over the span of, 2 years or so, close to 2 years. So 10 a year, one a month, one PSA 3 a month. It's not that bad. Now, total population is 491, so in other grades, this is happening too, of course, so that's something to consider. Like I said, not the most rare sticker, but again, one that is highly coveted, highly demanded. This row, kind of a bunch of odds and ends. We have a 1970 Pele PSA 8. If you got high-grade PSA Peles, people are going to pay for them for sure. Next to that, we have a Stevie G sticker auto numbered out of 20 and a gem grade. Then we also have a 2014 Prism PSA 10 Roberto Baggio sticker auto. Just a great set. I know that Cajun Cardboard, the guy that makes the basketball videos, he's collecting that set as well. So maybe that was him going in on that potentially. If so, congrats to him. Then next to that we have the Contra Electric Etch. There we go. I got it right. Okay. I mean, the Obsidian parallels are always weird, but I got it. That's the Cristiano Ronaldo numbered out of 8. Looks actually really cool with him in the Juve kit. I don't like Juve kit Ronaldos, but if I were to like Juve kit Ronaldos, I think that's a really cool one. Above that, we have a couple Messi rookies here on the sides. In the middle, a Ronaldo sticker auto from the 2020 Panini Revolution Legendary set. Not numbered, it doesn't appear to be, but relatively cheap. I mean, I will say, I always compare to peak prices because that's when everything seems so expensive that I couldn't buy it, and the numbers just get stuck in my head. But sticker autos for Ronaldo were, I think, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000, just consistent as could be. So starting to see, the Leaf 101 at 500, and the same thing for this. I mean, you can tell the sticker autos are getting pretty beaten up. And something I've always told people is Pele sticker autos, like we saw before, the Leaf one, they're worth 400, 500. I know he's a prolific signer, so maybe Messi or Ronaldo don't go that route, but just to say, Pele's a god of soccer, and his sticker autos are worth, 400, 500 on bad products, to be fair, but just saying in general, they're still attainable. So people shouldn't put Messi and Ronaldo on this pedestal where you can't attain them, because I think you can. Next to that, a Socrates rookie. I don't know how much of a rookie it is. With Brazilian issues, there's always this problem of whenever I think a Brazilian releases a rookie, there's 2 or 3 more to come. Brazil's just, in my opinion, prolific at that. They have just a plethora of different rookies and different releases. Brazil's a massive country with a deep history of soccer, so I think the combination just lends itself to a lot of unfound items or new stuff that'll come to market. So when it comes to Brazil, I take my time. I approach with caution. I will say, you know, God, I mean, this is just a terrifying rookie, like nightmare fuel type stuff. I don't know. I mean, looking at my collection, unless I have a deep love for Socrates, that's just one that kind of scares me more than anything else. I think I'm more used to like the, you know, the very hairy man, so I don't really get to see the man under the beard and all that jazz, but that is definitely something. Above that, a few more Messis. You know, these Messis, I'm not going to talk through each and every one. They're basically the same. The only real thing you can look for in these Messis to have a little bit of a differentiator is where it says Barca Campeón in the top left. It can say Barca Campeón. So right here it says Campeón. That is a Spanish release, also released in Mexico, and I believe there's one more country it was released in, while compared to the Campeón, that is just a Catalan release, so it's a much more, I guess, exclusive release in the sense that it's a smaller area and one more compact around Barcelona and their team, rather than, you know, the more, I guess, widespread release. So it is a little something that does differentiate itself, but it really doesn't, you know, hold that much of a premium. Will that change? I don't know. I don't know how much people are going to care about a couple letters on a card. I think it matters, but, you know, teach their own. Then we have a Bellingham numbered out of 75 PSA 10 rookie. Bellingham just has a ton of rookies, so while this is cool, while this is numbered, while it is PSA 10, while it's autoed, you know, I can understand why it goes for this price. I think that, you know, you could even say maybe it's too high. I don't know. Just whenever I see all the Jude releases, you could ask me, what's Jude's true rookie? I wouldn't know. I don't know what the best Jude card is. I don't know what people are chasing. Maybe that's just, you know, a factor of me not being into it, but it is a hard one to follow. R9 PSA 6 right here, going for 660. Seems like a fairly decent price. These have come back more down to earth like most everything, but still, in my opinion, one of the most iconic looking pre-modern stickers. Just the smile and, you know, R9 alone is enough for that. You get the jersey too. Such a great looking border. I mean, you know, I don't think anything's wrong with that sticker. I think it is as beautiful as it gets. And now getting to, you know, moderately fair prices, which is cool. Up here we have a red, white, and blue. I don't know if that's a wave. I don't know. Red, white, and blue Ronaldo Messi, we'll call it. This matchup card, people like it a lot. I think that this is actually really cool. I've never like stared at him, but I mean, you get the blue on the bottom with Messi and the red on top with Ronaldo. That's you know, a cool thing to look at. That's a PSA 9 too, so you know, you'd assume at a 10 that's $1,000, $2,000 card. Next to that we have the Vanderhout 6 Cruyff. Again, like we saw before, the 4 was closer to 400 and the 6 is up at 720, so you know, a decent little jump there. Next to that, a couple vintage ones. Rivellino, don't know much about his early market, but I mean, just by the price point alone for PSA 2, I'd assume that's pretty important. Colors are very wonky to me, but you know, someone finds that very worthwhile, so congratulations to them. Next to it we have a Garrincha PSA 5 for 750. I mean, you know, I'm not much of a set collector, but just knowing that a Pele PSA 5 is probably, I mean, I don't check Pele Leaf of Bullet Get prices in high grade because honestly I can't afford that, but just knowing that the 1s and the 2s are like 15, 30K range, I'm guessing a 5 is, you know, 100K plus range. And if that's true, I mean, to think that you could get a Garrincha from the same set in the same grade for, you know, 100th of the price, that seems kind of cool to me. Then in this row, a bit different here, we have a PSA 10 Neymar numbered out of 50, Topps Chrome Gold. I guess comparing this to the treble from earlier, you know, seems moderately comparable. You know, much higher price, but it is a PSA 10. The treble was a PSA 8. This is a gold, but it is numbered higher, but it is Topps Chrome. So you have like all these different factors going into it. I do think it looks good. You know, people love the gold Topps Chrome. I can't deny that. But personally, again, you have the PSG thing where I don't know if that's what people are going to want. So, I mean, when you do the math, you know, you kind of work this back to PSA 9. A PSA 9 would probably be $200 to $300 for a gold Neymar. And I don't think $200 to $300 for a gold Neymar and a 9 is anything too crazy. I mean, the prices I see some people go for. I think I saw a Neuer on eBay recently go for, it was raw and it was like 150 or 200. So to think that Neymar's in that range or only a little higher, you know, when people don't even like goalies and people love Neymar as far as I understand, it seems cheap, but you never know. Then we have another Maradona Calciatore, this one a good bit higher than the 3 we saw earlier. A Mbappe 2016 Panini foot sticker at $870. I mean, this price is, I mean, not terrible, to be honest. Thinking back to sort of, you know, the mania, this was anywhere from a $1,500 to a $2,200 sticker. So to say that it's down, you know, 50, 60%, that isn't that bad, especially when, you know, from what I've seen, there's a lot of these stickers, you know, to keep up with modern demand. it seemed to have kept up pretty well. Next to that, we have a Marta, looks to be an on-card auto. I would imagine this is, early career, 2011, so that's got to be a big one. PSA Pop 3, none grade higher, selling for 900. So, women's soccer getting some shine here. Definitely didn't expect that, and definitely didn't expect that high, but, Marta, women's GOAT, so well-deserved. Then we have a Contra Messi, actually, to go ahead and match the Ronaldo from earlier. This one goes for 900, a good bit higher than the Ronaldo, but this does have Messi in his Barcelona kit, which is, preferred to Ronaldo, and at this point, it would seem Messi has a, a higher market than Ronaldo. Speaking of, in the same row, we do have a Ronaldo Kaboom PSA 9 going for about the same price. I'm not a big Kaboom guy. I'd probably take the Obsidian over it, but I can see why it's up here. People do love the Kaboom, and it's an easy one to translate into if you're someone that's outside of soccer. Then we have a 2004 Messi in a PSA 9 grade from the Mega Cracks. This is what I'm talking about with the Campio. Just, couple letters changed there in the top left corner, and you have yourself a more rare card. Campio up there, differentiating the release, but 900 isn't anything too crazy. I mean, it's basically in line with the PSA 8s we saw earlier that were 450 to 500, so about double the price. Like I said, that multiplier I usually use in my head seems to work out right, but there is no, monetary difference for the Campio versus Campione, at least in this situation. Now we have a not a PSA. If it was PSA 4, it probably would have went much higher, but a BGS for Zidane that was graded relatively recently. Basically, the way I look to see if stuff has been graded recently, at least with PSA and BGS, you can easily tell because you just look at the cert number, and if you know where they're at right now they're in the 15 million range, while 14 million was very recent. And this is one where if you're a Zidane guy, I'd recommend, if you're ever looking at these, start to understand what real ones look like, right? So look at scans of old ones that were graded a long time ago. So for BGS, basically anything before 12 to 13 million, in my head, is almost a guaranteed real one. Now, maybe it might be trimmed, there might be some iffy stuff going on, but before 12 to 13 million, most of them are real from what I understand. Most everything's real before 12 to 13 million. So if you look at those, you can get an understanding of what to look for. What's the pixelation on it? What are the colors? And then you put them side to side. If you have great photos, you can really, do some damage and figure it out yourself, right? But it becomes problematic and a bit hard when, you don't know what you're looking for. And if you don't know what you're looking for with stuff like this, especially in a BGS lab where you don't get any sort of guarantee, and you also get a company that's just pumping out fakes and sketchy cards, I would stay away from BGS. Everyone in soccer will probably tell you that right now. So if you know what you're looking for, I think BGS could be a play. If you don't know what you're looking for, just stay away. It's not worth it. BGS labs also tend to create waviness on the sticker because of how they're being held in there. So there's just so much that you can talk about there. I'm not even a BGS fan. I mean, sometimes I appear that way in Discords because of how, I kind of defend them, but yeah, they're terrible, especially right now. The next row is just a very weird row. I mean, a lot of modern. Here you have a 2020 Ronaldo and Nani dual auto. I don't know if that'll be as cool as people think it is, although I guess maybe if you're, a Man U fan that loves both of them, maybe it's very cool to you. We have a Gavi Sapphire out of 25. Again, I don't know. Maybe that is the true Gavi card that people are chasing. I'm not aware. 2019 Erling Haaland PSA 10 foosball sticker. We'll go look at that chart right now. And I thought this was, okay, like everything else, right? We have this massive peak here in 2021 where it went from being, I remember this, it went from being a 10, well, I guess, an $1,100, $1,200 sticker to just shooting up to 8 to 10,000. Right, and then you have the fall back to reality where now it has gone all the way back down to a little over 1,000, right? Now, I will say there was a time where you could have made money on this. No one will talk about this, but for 6 months, well, actually not 6 months, but for 2 to 3 months of this year, you could get this sticker pretty consistently between, $600 and $800. And at some point, very recent, going into the World Cup, this was $1,500 to $2,000 sticker. So you could have, doubled, maybe even tripled your money if you timed it right. But that won't be talked about because it's more of a one-off, I would say. A lot of cards aren't going on that same trajectory, but if you predict a player right, where once he starts off at City this year, if he really gets going, maybe something pops off, and in that case, it did happen to do so. Next, we have the select field level Prism Kylian Mbappe. Don't really have any comps on this one, but like I was saying before, I mean, 1,000 for that seems just insanely cheap, at least relative to my mind, because remember we looked at that select earlier that at the peak was like 2,000 to 3,000 for a base, and now you can get the the silver version for 1,000, so it seems like a much better play. We have another one above that selling for relatively the same, another BGS Zidane that was graded relatively recently, so take that for what you will. We have a 1931 PSA 6. Again, gonna be honest, don't know much about that at all, but PSA 6 seems like a high grade, none higher. You have a Mohamed Salah Prism PSA 10 for 1,100. I know Liverpool collectors are aplenty in the hobby, so that's probably where that's coming from. Going above that, we get to some, I guess, relatively unique. I thought this was a really low price. I mean, if we're looking at the the PSA 9 of the same card, went for 1,000. Now, I guess it was the Campeão, not the Campeón, but a 9.5 you would think would have a good premium. Doesn't really in this market. Next to that, you have a 2018 Brazil World Cup winner. Just from the little text beneath it, looks like 2002, which would make sense. So that is pretty cool if you're a Brazil collector. Next to that, we have a Topps Chrome Refractor, Kylian Mbappe. More of a staple rookie, I guess I would say, than the Select. The Select does have an argument, certainly, for being a rookie, but the Topps Chrome seems to be preferred. Then we have a gold numbered out of 10 2017 Select, so this is third year Select for Ronaldo. 9.5, only going for 1,600, seems low. I mean, when we're talking about, I know that, market's down, but the gold craze, and this is what I talked about whenever the gold was going crazy, the gold craze was real. People were paying like 12, 20, 50,000 for different gold Ronaldos and Messis, and those have taken a real hit. I saw someone that sold a gold Messi for around 60K at the peak, and that same Messi sold recently for, I think, 5 to 10K. I mean, people thought that they were safe in gold. They're not, It can work out right, maybe sometimes if you pick the right gold, but gold in general is not just some safe haven. Scrolling on up, another Messi auto. This is a RC, it has RC on it. Kylian Mbappe from 2018. First card of his to have RC on it, even though it's third year, so it's very strange, but it's numbered out of 50. Looks kind of cool, I'll be honest, but people like it. Next to that, we have a Aquarella 1.5 going for near 2,000. Looking at the chart for this, this is, in my opinion, sort of the last frontier of if the market's going to fall for soccer, this is sort of the last leg to get kicked out. Will it? I don't know. Pele's a GOAT. Pele also died recently, so you have all these factors that kind of would keep his prices up. But, this is something that in 2019, even when the market was cooking, was 200 to 400 and then went all the way up to 4,000 to 5,000. It basically stayed there, right? This peaked at 5 and has kind of stayed there until very recent, where it has now taken a nosedive of sorts. And this says 2,100 was the last price, actually 1,800. So it just keeps on going. Where it lands, who will know? Ronaldo PSA 4 Mega Cracks. I have a BGS 8 up here. You can kind of see the same thing and sort of, I guess, along the same lines as Pele. I feel like this card's held up really well despite sort of how many copies seem to be out there. But, doing its thing. Again, that one sold for, I guess this is a BGS 8, so I can't even compare it to the PSA 4. It is what it is. Then there's a Messi auto. This, at least as far as I'm concerned, seems to be more of like a sticker auto type. I think they just signed, some item that then gets cut up and placed underneath the card. So in my opinion, it's basically a sticker auto, but I don't think the market values it that way. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's at least what I've taken from looking at those. Here you have a PSA 3 Maradona. This one, I bid on it. I didn't bid that high by any means, but I was in the race just in case. I love that sticker, just a great looking Maradona, and the first one with him in an Argentina kit, which is always fun. Next to that, you have a Pele and Ronaldinho dual auto via Leaf. So, I mean, that's a pretty good premium, to be honest. I mean, compared to the 101, Ronaldo we saw earlier, that's very different. Next to that, a PSA 1 Football Maradona True Rookie Disc. Close to the same price, I guess, as the PSA 3 from his second year. The disc, are debatable if you like disc or not. Some people only like cards. Some people only like cards and stickers. Some people like card stickers, and pogs. I mean, it depends where you want to draw the line. Personally, I don't draw too many lines in soccer because there's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of cool stuff too. So I think it's cool, but the front of this didn't look very good at all, in my opinion. I'm someone that I would like to own one of these one day, but I'm not going to own this one. I mean, like, it looks like he's got a busted nose. Looks like, you've rubbed this down the edge of a table. It's just not really for me, but definitely still a cool Maradona collectible, especially if you're into them. Then beyond that, we have a few fun ones. I did bid on these, but I do all my bidding on Monday, right? I bid on cards that I like that maybe I would want on Monday, so I'm not really bidding. This SGC 6 Maradona I was actually interested in, because I have some others that I would be, interested in maybe liquidating to then combine up to this one, but this just, the border looked way too small for me. Whenever you get, an old sticker like this and all the corners are crisp clean and all the edges are crisp and clean, and I compared it to other stickers and all the borders were much bigger than this, so I just concluded in my head it was trimmed. I even found what I believe to be a matching copy at the time on PSA. Basically, I overlapped it with this one. I overlapped a past PSA sale with this one, and I clicked back and forth between the two, and they looked exactly the same. And these stickers, they look typically very different, but they looked exactly the same. Come to find out, we look at the back, some people in Discord, kind of talk with me about it, and the backs look a little different, but it's so hard to know with these scans and with different slabs and with different companies. It's just so hard to cross-reference, but in my head, I was like, if that is a match or not to the PSA sticker, I do not know, but in my head, that is a trim sticker, I believe, but, the market might not see it that way, might actually see it that way. I mean, as far as these stickers go in this grade, that's sold for quite a discount, which may be, taking that into account, but still a really cool sticker, and one I would be interested in owning in that grade if I, felt that it was worthy. Next to that, a 9.5 Mbappe Blue Prism. Looking at the chart for, we had the chart for the Maradona Pog, as you can see here, about in line with the last sale, which, considering how bad this one looked, I guess that is the last sale. Okay, it's down a good bit, I guess, but maybe that makes sense considering this one, had a splotch of red on the middle of his face along with a busted up side. So I think that's a reasonable one. The Mbappe Blue has gone on quite the ride. I thought that this was crazy. I mean, to think that in 2016, even after winning the World Cup in a BGS 9.5, that this card was only $60, and now it's like, it's actually kind of gone on a run. I mean, it seems to have bottomed at 2,200 in early December and is now close to 3,400. And that's something that people won't talk about, right? We're in a down market, everyone's supposed to be set, but that from the bottom is a 50% increase. Now, could you pick out the bottom and buy it exactly? No, but even if you bought after that, it's still up, a good bit from most of the purchases after that. So, that's a fun sign, you would think. 2017, we have a PSA 10 Select Kaboom, same one we saw earlier, but in a better grade. Continuing on, we have 3,800 for the Topps Chrome Mbappe, numbered out of 150. So a little bit lower numbered than the Prism. It also is a year earlier, but you don't have the World Cup win associated with it. So it's very interesting to see these have basically a $300 difference, and it'd be very interesting to know what you guys would pick between the two. Me personally, it'd be so hard. I would probably... I want to say Topps Chrome just because I think that set is going to be amazing, and I think that could be seen as basically the Mbappe rookie. But the 2018, it is so hard. I would probably go Topps Chrome, but it's very debatable, and I could see it either way, to be honest. A few other very cool cards in here, at least, from my perspective. I didn't bid on this, of course. I'm not a big Kaboom guy, like I said. Christian Pulisic, Kaboom. If you wanted to, pick the odd one out, look at all the names we have up here, like Pele, Mbappe, Messi, Maradona, Ronaldinho, Lewandowski, and then you got Pulisic just hanging out. So definitely odd man out, but still a cool card. I think, I remember Jeff purchasing this, the sports card investor. I don't know how big he is on the USMNT anymore, but I remember he bought that, so kudos to him, and I guess any gold owners, if you're in the gold Kaboom contingent, congratulations. Next to that, we have a BGS 8 Ronaldo, the Mega Cracks version. We looked at the PSA 4 earlier, and along with that, the matching graph. This is the BGS 8 that we were looking at, so decent price again, I would say. Whenever you look at his sticker in a PSA 8 goes for near the same price, so kind of the discount I think BGS gets is why that's the case. I think most people would value this as a PSA 6 or 7 rather than an 8. Next to that, this is a really cool Lewandowski. You know, I kind of roasted one of the red Lewandowskis earlier. I mean, this is first year Topps Chrome, but it is a PSA 8, which is kind of surprising to me. I mean, PSA 8 Topps Chrome Lewandowski. I know it's out of 10, I know it's color match, but that's a pretty substantial price. I mean, that would imply like a 9 should be worth, you know, anywhere from 5 to 10K, and a 10 should be worth anywhere from 10 to 20K. So, I mean, that's pretty hefty, I would say, for someone like that. And then we get to the final frontier, the 4 top listings of the auction. Here we have a PSA 10 Messi Mega Cracks. This is, again, part of the team set. This is a Campeon version, but this is the second most preferred of the team set. Typically, people like the blue the most. This is, in my opinion, the green, since it has green on the front. And then, you know, there's the white version. And so this is the second, and coming in at $4,500. Seems like a fairly decent price. These are, you know, ones that pre-boom, I would say, were anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000, and then during the boom they were like, I don't know, 15 to 25,000, and now they've come back down to what's, you know, a more attainable point. Still very expensive by all means, but, you know, not the 25,000 we saw prior. So I think that is good to see, at least in terms of, you know, sort of an equilibrium. Beyond that, right next to it, another Messi. This one, a Topps Chrome, numbered out of 25 orange, a mixed gem. You have a 10 centering and a 9 on the corners. So I don't know how people might see that as a PSA 9, because, you know, I mean, a card with no borders getting a 10 centering isn't anything crazy. So maybe the corners kind of ding it, but 5,000 for that, still a very cool card. And then right next to that, you have the Pele Flawless, numbered out of 15. This went for 5,500. Personally, I mean, I did bid on it. I didn't bid this high, but I don't think that's crazy. I mean, at least when you look at flawless prices for like Messi and Ronaldo, sure, it's playing year, but if that goes down as an iconic set, I mean, the Peles will be amazing as well. And so I think that's a really cool and maybe a really worthwhile buy if you're, you know, kind of playing in that ballpark. But that's a fun one. And then finally, we top it off with some good prospecting, because that's what we all need. But an Erling Haaland Topps Chrome BGS 9.5 seems like a min gem. Yeah, you got a 9 centering, 9.5 everywhere else, but you get the auto, and it's a pop 1 of 3, none higher. So you got that going for you too. Coming in at 12,000 in total, and yeah, pretty fun one to go through here. We have everything basically ranging from a $10,000 card to a $300 card. So I had a lot of fun with that, and I would be more than happy to do this again going forward. I think that's just a blast to be able to go through this every week, and typically I'm going through this all anyways, and would love to talk through it all with you guys as well. So if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Would mean a lot to me. Would make sure that, you know, I know that you enjoy the video as well, which would lead to more of these in the future potentially. Would love to hear your thoughts on any of the cards you saw here today as well in a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as we go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.